I was walking into town from my house in Droylsden, and I had like a show to go to. It was like 4 or 5 p.m. and something I like doing is there's a canal that is right by my house and it leads right to Northern Quarter in Manchester city centre. So it's a direct walk, it's lovely. I did that for months, and then on this particular day I got about 3/4 of the journey and I saw a group of turned out to be nine lads all huddled around together, and at first I thought they were up to like no good. I thought they were just being juvenile, smoking or something, they don't want people to see. But as I got closer, I saw them start to nudge each other and sort of say things like, "He's coming, get ready." And as I should have turned away, I should have gone the other direction, but I didn't. And I tried to sort of walk past them, but one of them jumped out in front, asking me like, where do I think I was going? And the others surrounded me at that point, and then they started to ask for all my belongings, like my phone, money, whatever. And I refused to give it to them, which is probably not the best idea. But I just wanted to elongate everything out. My thought process was, I'm going to elongate everything out, because the longer this goes on, the less likely, like, something else is not happening. I didn't know. I was so worried about what was going to happen. Anything could have happened. I could have been attacked. They could have like thrown me in the canal. They could have let me go, or they could have taken everything from me. But I wasn't. If I kept them back and forth with me, then none of that can happen, because I can just delay this. But they start to get, the more I denied, they start to get more physical, grabbing onto me and things like that. So eventually I just decided to push past and try to run. I wasn't too far from like a main road. It's just this little piece of the canal which was kind of closed off, but I didn't have to get far to be in the public again. So I thought that's where safety was. But as soon as I tried to go, they grabbed me, and I turned to face them, but I saw them run off in the other direction. And then when I turned back, there was 2 police officers at the end of the canal, just right at the right time. But I came out of it pretty okay, but any longer, a second or 2 longer, and it could have gone a completely different way. So I'm very lucky that the police were there at the right time. I spoke to them straight after, and when I approached them, they asked me. They said, "Are you Sam?" I said, "No, I'm not Sam at all." But it turns out someone had reported another mugging that happened so they must have got someone else that day as well. And I was the second person in the space of 10 minutes. So I got a call a couple of weeks later, after the crime happened. I got a call from one of the police officers that was there. He let me know that they had arrested all of them. He said there was a group of 9 people, and then he gave me options. He said, have a think about what you want to do, but you've got 3 options. One option is that if you don't want to pursue anything else to do with this and you just want to live your life, you can. You can take them to court and process the case that way, or you can do restorative justice, which he explained to me is kind of like giving them a second chance, and has a high success rate in terms of rehabilitating people into not doing this again. And they were young lads, so he said, like, he didn't influence my decision. He allowed me to sort of think for myself, but he did mention that whatever decision I make can influence their future. So I get to decide what their future is, basically. So I did have a think about it, and I got a call from Restorative Justice a little while after that, and they went through everything again, but a little bit more in detail. And after that phone call, I decided I want to do RJ. I want to do restorative justice. There's no 2 ways about it. I was skeptical in terms of, if we do this, what are the chances that this actually works? I never heard about it before, and I didn't know what happens. And there was a big kind of cynical part of me that thought, this is going to be for nothing. But then there was that hopeful side of me that said, well, if it's for nothing, well, at least we tried. But it could lead on to something really good, you know. And it was a few more sessions with Nicola, and she was coaching me. I had some really sort of good sort of like mentors throughout this. They were really looking after me and getting me into the right frame of mind. And the whole way through, I was just adamant that restorative justice was the right thing to do. And they said I could leave and stop this at any time I wanted if I didn't feel I was okay with it. But we just kept going. And it all led up to that sort of session where I got to meet the offenders face to face. So something that happened with the final meeting was they also gave me options as to how I wanted to go about it. They said I could like record a message for them and do it that way. I could meet them face to face, but then this is the first case they did where there was loads of offenders. So they said, well, to make it easier, do you want us to split the groups up and do like 3-3-3 or do it in 2 halves or anything like that? But at this point, I just thought, go big or go home. We'll get them all in one room. It'll be all right. And so so that's what I decided to do. So when it came to this day, we walk into the room, and there's all 9 of them sitting around a table, and there's a parent or 2 from each offender sitting behind them as well. So there's loads of people in there. But I looked at them and I saw the exact people that had tried to mug me months earlier, but it's almost as if I was looking at a completely different set of people, because the people I saw months before were cocky, aggressive, confident, and kind of angry, you know, all of these sort of boisterous. But then I was when I saw them again this time, I was looking at remorseful, regretful, sorry people, and I just sort of looked at them and I thought, well, this is the punishment. I'm glad we went this way, because they're already dealing with the regret and the apologetic. They already feel so bad for what they've done. Why do we need to go any further than this? So then the session starts, and I just get to say everything that's on my mind. And I talked about what happened that day, and I told them my side of the story. I told them exactly how I felt. I told them exactly how my life was affected afterwards. Explained to them how nervous I get in public now, being out on the open, and it's because of that day. And I just got to say everything I wanted, and I was surprised because they just let me speak. No one butt in, no one tried to say, no, that's wrong. They all allowed me to have my say. And once I'd finished speaking, they each one by one started to talk about how they felt about it and their side of the story. And their side of the story was how they kind of, it was peer pressure, that sort of thing. And so for me to hear their side of the story just put me at ease. It kind of took the level from offender and sort of victim up here, like these levels where, you know, in my mind, these are really scary people that have got no inhibitions and will sort of do bad things. And for them, I'm just a target. I'm just a no-name person. But this session, when we talked to each other, we leveled the playing field, and they saw that I'm human, and they realised that I'm a real person that will have like a knock-on effect from what happened that day. And then I saw that they're human as well, and perhaps that was a bad judgment call from them, and that they want to do better. And it was really cool to talk to them, and their parents were great as well. Their parents explained how they felt hearing about this, and they didn't hold back. I was really surprised with the parents. I thought some of them would be like, well, this is my son, you know, he'd never do something like this, I don't believe this at all. They were like, no, we didn't raise you like this, so face your actions, because this isn't on us, this is you. And it was really cool. One of the dads stood up at the end of the session and addressed all the boys as one, and he just said, look, you've been given a chance now. This is your opportunity to do better. Don't expect anyone to look out for you if you do it again, because this is your warning. And there's also something I said to them as well at the end, was because they asked me like why. One of them asked me like, why did I choose to do this? Why did I go restorative justice? And it was like, I hadn't really thought about it up until that point, because I still didn't really know what it was. But there we were, and I just thought, I don't want to be the one that sends them to court or gives them a criminal record or anything like that. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it on their own back. But for me, this is my opportunity to wipe the slate clean, because no matter what, we go through court, anything like that, I walk away. But this is their chance to be like, well, I'm gonna do better now. And if they're gonna screw themselves over, then that's up to them. But this is our opportunity to like shake hands, have a chat, right, good luck. And it felt really good to do that. It was very therapeutic. And it's a little bit of a high ground as well. It's like, I went from down here, and now I've got to be like, I get to walk away from this. It's my decision, the ball's in my court now. So it was a really, really sort of great experience. Well, I think restorative justice has helped me kind of get my life back a little bit. So we've been working on this for most of the year. So for most of this year, I've kind of experienced, after the crime happened, I've experienced extreme anxiety being out in public. I walk everywhere, but I don't like doing that anymore, because I feel at risk, and I feel so conscious of the people around me, and it's no way to live. It's horrible. And after that session, after this whole process, I feel that coming back to me now. I've got that freedom again. I've got that sort of that will to just live my life, and it's so nice to not be worried. I mean, it's still a bit scary out there, of course it is, but I'm in a better position than I was, and I had a peace of mind afterwards. I got closure, which is important. I think all of us got closure. I think something I keep reminding myself is that this was as much for them as it was for me, and this was as much for me as it was for them, in the terms of we all learnt so much through this process as individuals and about other people. Like, it taught us a sense of humanity, I think. As much as it might not stretch far, but even just that little bit is where else are you going to get that from? It's just it's been a really good experience. Service I've sort of received during this whole process has been incredible. Everyone has been extremely supportive, but every single step of the way, they always reaffirmed me that my decisions are final and everything is up to me to decide. So whenever I was not comfortable, we'll work through it, and I get to decide what goes on from there. I was never forced into anything. My decisions were never influenced. It was completely up to me the whole way through, and they were just there to support me. And I felt the support was genuine. Sometimes with the various services in various places, you feel like people are doing their job, whereas everyone I met during this whole process who's been trying to help me, I felt like they wanted to help me because it's just something they want to do for themselves. Like, they want to, they care, and that's kind of what influenced me to keep up with this and go the whole hog and do the meeting and just stick to restorative justice, because I felt like everyone really cared, and that's really nice to know. You can feel wronged by systems sometimes, but the people of restorative justice, they generally want to make sure that your life gets back on track. So people could be nervous about doing RJ, and I understand, because either a lot of people don't know about it, or if they do, like myself, when I found out about it, would be a bit skeptical. But for me, it was kind of, there was something in me that just thought that this was the right thing to do, and it's always got to be the decision for you. So it's not like, don't worry about them, don't worry about the offender, worry about you, and if this is the right thing for you, then go for it. And I would recommend restorative justice to anyone, whether it be pre or post conviction. When you do it, this provides you with just a closure that like can't be given anywhere else, and you get taught so much, you learn so much, and you grow from this. It's just I think it's a really special service, and if I could go back and have to go through all of this again, I'd do restorative justice every single time. I just think it's just really good for the mind. I think it's therapy. It's a therapy that you usually have to pay loads of money for, and if you do this now, you do it in the moment, you do it when the case is happening, when it's ongoing. You don't have to address this in 30 years when you're really struggling. Yeah. I generally, I didn't know about restorative justice at all, but it provided me with help when I didn't know I needed it. It was great.